This takes place in March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 2001. I was at Armco Park in Middletown, Ohio. I had recently joined a road racing team. I'd worked my way back into shape, and I joined a racing team that participated in a team series. And the March Team Series event was at Armco Park in Middletown, Ohio. It was a 5K. It was kind of a rainy, muggy day. I'd only been running since college for about a year and a half and got pretty serious about it and attended these races. My big goal at that time was I was gradually getting into shape because I'd weighed about 185 pounds. I really got into weightlifting in college and was starting to slim down, was to break 18 minutes in a 5K. And I hadn't done that since high school. And I'd gotten pretty close. So I latched on to a group of older guys in the race. I was 26 years old at the time. And these guys I knew had been breaking 18 minutes. So I stuck with them till about 2 3/4 of a mile. We hit this little bump of a hill. And for a fleeting moment, I just lost focus, got tired, my breathing got out of whack, and I basically called it a day and cruised it on in 18 minutes and 7 seconds. All 4 of the other guys that I'd been running with broke 18. I hung around for awards because my age group wasn't the strongest. A lot of 25 to 29-year-olds weren't doing road races. They were doing other things. So there was a good chance that I'd get an award. And I ended up, I can't remember if I won my age group or I got second, but I got an award. And they announced my name. And I was standing there because I had some older running friends who were, and I wanted to see if they were get an award. An older man came up to me while I was standing there. And he asked me if my name was Byron Kimmel. I said, yeah. He goes, are you from Brookville? Yes. Was your father named Byron Kimmel? Yes. He said, well, my name's Ron Rohr, and I went to high school with your dad. And if you give me about 5 minutes, I'd like to tell you a story about your dad. I said, sure. For those of you who don't know, my dad died when I was 4, a sudden heart attack. So anytime I had an opportunity to hear about my dad, I just soaked it up. Ron proceeded to tell me the story. In 1971, Brookville had a Senior Olympics. It was a community event that culminated with their community picnic, which is typically held in July. The Senior Olympics featured various events, almost like an Olympic Games. There's a softball throw, long jump, high jump, some sprinting events, and the culminating event was a 2-mile run. So Ron told me that he had been training with Bob Schul, the gold medal 5,000 meter runner from West Milton, and was in fabulous shape and wasn't expected anybody to really give him much competition in the 2-mile run. They lined up, gun went off, and Ron proceeded to blaze out in front with a comfortable lead, cruising through the first mile just under 5:30. In the second mile, he started to hear a faint breathing, heavy breathing pattern of a runner somewhat maybe 100 or 200 meters behind, maybe 100 meters behind him, not 200, he wouldn't be able to hear him. But he could hear a heavy breathing pattern of the person in second place. And each lap, the breathing pattern got louder. And he described it like, he said, I didn't think too much about it, but each lap it got louder. And with about 2 laps to go, out of the corner of my eye, I could see a face with that voice, that heavy breathing. It was your dad. Still wasn't too worried. Went through the next lap, but the breathing got louder. I picked up the pace. The breathing got even louder. By the last lap, the breathing was really loud. so loud I could hear the footsteps behind me. Sure enough, as we make the last turn, I hear very loudly that breathing as your dad blasts past me and beats me at the finish line. I was shocked. I had no idea that your dad had been training and that could push himself to that level. I thought you'd like to hear that story. Slapped me on the back, said, "See you around." I got in my car and I could not stop thinking about that. About how I just kind of packed it up at 2 3/4 miles. And I thought about it. I think my dad's trying to send me a message from heaven. You don't get it, do you, son? You don't get it. There's a certain level that we go to, we meaning Kimmels, and he was teaching me a lesson. And that level is what we talked about, that 40% that the mind doesn't really understand what the body can do. You get to that 60%, you kind of hit the wall. My dad broke into that 40%. And he was trying to tell me that I had to get tougher to break into that 40% area to see what I really could do. Story doesn't end there. About 5 years ago, my mother brought over a box of mementos, newspaper clippings, pictures of my dad. He played college baseball. There were some pictures from that. As I was going through all these items, I opened up an envelope and out came this ribbon. The ribbon says, Brookville Senior Olympics, age 26 to 35 group, 1971, 2-mile run, first place. I actually had the ribbon of that race that Ron talked about. So it left a lasting impression in me. And when I experience that negative thoughts and the breathing pattern gets heavy, I always think back to what Ron told me. My old man didn't give up. There's no reason why I should either. And that's always stuck with me. So that is your wow, and our theme for the year is to break into that. So my challenge is, everything that you do is an opportunity to get into that 40% area. But there's a huge wall, and some of you have walls that are very, very thick and seem almost impenetrable. But you can break through, but it takes work and lots of it. It takes pain, it takes fatigue and exhaustion, it takes breaking through a lot of these mental traps that you set for yourself. Some of you may have experienced it yesterday when you're doing the workout, and you're going to experience it. I'm going to challenge you. Welcome those opportunities when your body and your mind fights with you, fights with your soul. Take that as a challenge. I talk about adding to your toughness bank account. Yeah, it's kind of a funny little thing, but if you think about it, every time you battle and push yourself, you make a deposit in that bank account. And you build up a wealth of riches that you can call upon when you're struggling in the midst of a race. You can reach in and pull out that experience that I know I can do this. I've been through tougher things. I'm used to this. One of the things I always talk about is you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And some of you have yet to experience that. You shy away from the opportunities to push yourself. That didn't mean you go blasting every day and crush your body. But when it's time to work out hard, it's time to work out hard. That's all there is to it.